The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is coming very soon on April 2nd, and I'm expecting to see a lot of new JRPGs announced at the show. In this video, I'll be predicting 5 all-new JRPGs that we could possibly see at the big Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Hey guys, Nishquick here. And you guys know I love Nintendo, I love the Nintendo Switch, and I love JRPGs. So in this video, I wanted to give 5 predictions on new games we could hopefully see and new games that I'm excited to play and chat with you guys about. And before we get started, just wanted to let you guys know, if you enjoy Nintendo, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, and JRPGs, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more content like this. Anyways, let's get on to predicting these 5 games. So the first game I have in mind is something from Atlus, and the 2 choices I have are something like Persona 6 or Persona 4 Remake. Both of these games have been in the rumor circulation as of late, and I really think this is a really good venue for both or either of these games to be announced. I'm really holding out hope for Persona 6. As some of you guys might know, some of my friends might know this, I'm not really super interested in a Persona 4 Remake right now. I'm more interested in a new game like Persona 6. That's another discussion for another time, but I think both of these games have a definite sure shot of being in this presentation. And some of you guys might be saying, well, Nishquick, why not in a PlayStation State of Play? Why not in an Xbox showcase? Because that's where a lot of these Persona and SMT games have been announced as of late. And well, I gotta say guys, a lot of things have changed, times have changed. The Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out now, and I hate to break it to you guys, but a lot of these Atlus and Persona games are just not selling on Xbox systems at all, so it's kind of pointless and counterintuitive and counterproductive for Atlus to show their games off at the Xbox showcases. I was very nervous for Metaphor, honestly. I think if that game didn't have its demo, it wouldn't have sold as well. I personally think so, and I'm really glad it got that. But even with PlayStation, I really think the massive JRPG Persona and Atlus audience is going to be on the Nintendo Switch, and they are Nintendo fans and they own Nintendo systems. And if you guys think about all the way back in the Nintendo Switch 1 presentation in January 2017, that was our first look at Shin Megami Tensei 5. So obviously we can see SMT 6 somewhere down the road, but I don't think SMT is going to be the only Atlus exclusive game we see in Nintendo Directs. I think we will see major Persona and P Studio releases in the near future. So lock that in. Hopefully we see Atlus at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and if not, at least somewhere in a future Nintendo Direct somewhere down the line. Okay, so my next prediction is going to be a little bit of a long shot. I'm not super confident on this, but I do think and I do hope that we do see something from the Tales of series. It would be really nice to see a new Tales of game, because Tales of Arise came out in September of 2021. A new Tales of game is definitely in development. I don't think it could release this year, but they could at least announce it and be like, hey, this game is coming day 1 to the Nintendo Switch 2, but it'll release sometime in 2026 or whenever they choose to give a release window. I definitely think whatever Tales game is coming next from Bandai Namco is definitely going to 100% be on the Nintendo Switch 2 day 1, and it would be nice to get a tease of that early in the Switch 2 Direct. But if we don't get a whole new Tales of game, I at least think we will hopefully get a definitive edition of Tales of Arise, which will bundle in the base game Tales of Arise with the DLC Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn, sell that to us for like, I don't know, 60-70 bucks with everything bundled in on the cartridge. That would be awesome, especially since I know a lot of Nintendo Switch owners who don't have a PlayStation or a PC really wanted to play Tales of Arise, but they couldn't because it didn't come to the Switch. And with the extra boost in power, fidelity, and graphical processing power, DLSS, and all that stuff, I think Tales of Arise is a perfect game to have on the Nintendo Switch. And of course, in the future, I am very excited to see a high budget, high fidelity, graphically intensive, really beautiful, nice looking new Tales of game on Nintendo Switch 2. So that's my second prediction. As for my third prediction, I think we will see 2 Square Enix games. I'm going to lock them down both. I think we'll at least see one. I'm very confident on at least one of these, but I hope to see both of them. So the first one I'm going to say is a game that we've been waiting for so long now. The fabled, mysterious, elusive Dragon Quest XII Flames of Fate. All we have seen of this game is it's sort of like Metroid Prime 4. We've only seen a logo. Well, we've seen Metroid Prime 4 gameplay now, but yeah, for this game, Dragon Quest XII, we've only seen a logo. We've heard some rumblings and rumors and even some developer insights and interviews about the direction of where this game is going. And the thing with the Dragon Quest audience is, of course, like many of these like traditional JRPG franchises, a lot of their audience has Nintendo systems. A lot of their audience is primarily on Nintendo systems. Like Dragon Quest is, I would say, primarily a Nintendo system. Like if you look at Final Fantasy, that's more PlayStation, you could argue, but Dragon Quest is Nintendo. You see Dragon Quest XI, most of the player base is on Nintendo Switch. You see the 3DS had so many Dragon Quest games, and so on and so forth. You look back at the history of Dragon Quest, of course they're on PS1, PS2 as well, but the majority of these games sell the best on the Nintendo Switch. And you can even see that with the recent Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. So I think this is the prime spot for Dragon Quest XII to show up. And at this Nintendo Direct, so many people are going to have their eyes on the show, waiting for some really big announcements. And Dragon Quest XII is going to be huge, especially in Japan. A lot of people are super into Dragon Quest in Japan, and this is going to blow their hype out of the water. Like this Direct is primarily to like build up hype for Nintendo Switch 2. A lot of first-party games, a lot of third-party games, a lot of JRPGs, and this honestly might be the most hyped JRPG they could have at the Nintendo Switch 2 showcase. So I really hope that Square Enix brings in the goods, because we don't even know like what they're gonna have for this rest of the year. All we know right now are the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remakes, and they could at least, maybe if they don't plan on releasing Dragon Quest XII later this year, at least give us our first gameplay look, give us a release window, tell us it's coming soon. That would be so amazingly hype. The next game I want to predict from Square Enix is a Final Fantasy game. But before we get into that Final Fantasy game, I just want to say that I do expect to see Final Fantasy VII Remake and maybe even Final Fantasy VII Rebirth here at the show. A lot of rumors are saying that they're going to be launch titles, or at least Remake is going to be a launch title. Rebirth might come a little bit later, but they are definite prime third-party ports to come over to Nintendo Switch 2. But along with showing off a Final Fantasy VII Remake, I do hope we finally get our first look at the highly rumored, mysterious, and elusive Final Fantasy IX Remake. This has been rumored ever since, I think, 2021 with the Nvidia leak, and so many people have been talking about what it could look like, what it could include, how it will be different from Final Fantasy IX, and how it will compare and contrast to the Final Fantasy VII Remake games that we've been experiencing on the PlayStation systems. It seems to be like it's done. Like, there were Epic Game Store database leaks pointing to the fact that it is at least content complete. So I really do hope we at least get to see this game. It's very almost worrying that this game has not been shown yet. I do understand that they had Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and so many other games in between. Square Enix has been churning out so many games, but it is now a very empty year, like I said, for Dragon Quest XII, and Square Enix is primed and ready to announce a lot of new big JRPG releases. Of course, you have Kingdom Hearts 4, you have Dragon Quest XII, you have whatever's coming next for Nier as well, but I do specifically think Final Fantasy IX will be the game that we see at the Nintendo Switch 2 showcase. Okay, that was 4 games down, and of course that was 4 new games. I did talk about some ports and remasters and remakes we could see as well. But before we get into my fifth prediction, I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you think we will see at the Nintendo Switch 2 showcase? What new JRPGs will we see? What new IPs from any JRPG development studios will we see? And if you have any ideas of what like ports or re-releases we could see on Nintendo Switch 2 that were not available to be released on Switch 1, let me know in the comments below. And one more quick reminder, please give this video a like. It helps me out more than you can imagine. And also definitely hit the subscribe button. The hype train is very high for the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which I'll be live streaming, and for the rest of the console generation. And like I said in previous videos, I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers before the launch of the system. We'll see how that goes, but anyways, let's get on to the fifth and final prediction, which is my most anticipated JRPG and the game that I really hope that we can finally see at this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and that is the only first-party game I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that is a new IP from Monolith Soft. Monolith Soft, my favorite development studio in all of gaming, the developers of the Xenoblade Chronicles series, one of my favorite series in all of gaming, and a very strong and substantial support studio for Nintendo, who's worked on games such as Animal Crossing, Splatoon, Super Smash Bros, and of course, The Legend of Zelda. They're instrumental in the development of the open worlds of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But if you guys remember, all the way back in the years of like 2018 and 2019, Monolith Soft was actively hiring for a new game, and their concept art showed a lot of very interesting high fantasy imagery and aesthetics with characters that looked a little bit like Zelda characters, but in a more like grittier aesthetic. It almost looked like a combination of Zelda meets like a From Software Dark Souls game. It was really cool. And of course, this is probably not the final look of what we're gonna get. It's probably gonna look very different. This is probably just concept art. This is probably not even concept art. This is just like hiring like marketing art that they made, and the game might be completely different. But here is something that gives me hope that this game still exists, because I've been having like copium that this game still exists ever since I saw that artwork. Last year we got a barrage of Nintendo codename leaks. A lot of them are games that have come out, like we did get the code names for Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Mario Party Jamboree and many other Nintendo Switch games, and a lot of games that we still haven't seen yet. And one of those code names was for a game called Project Legacy, developed by Monolith Soft. Initially, I thought that could be the definitive edition for Xenoblade Chronicles X, but turns out that Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition may not be this Project Legacy game. I'm still holding out hope that Project Legacy is this new IP that we could see from Monolith Soft. And wouldn't it be awesome for a studio like Monolith Soft, which is known for their technical expertise on Nintendo Switch hardware, their ability to create vast, beautiful, and expansive open world games with amazing immersive stories and complex RPG gameplay mechanics. Wouldn't it be awesome for them to branch out of The Legend of Zelda and the Xenoblade Chronicles series and make their own new IP? And new IPs within first-party Nintendo are a very big deal, and they really like to show those things off early on in a console generation. Like we saw ARMS at the Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017, and remember how big of a deal it was when Splatoon was announced and released on the Wii U? They could really hype this up to be something massive and something huge. And ever since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, Monolith Soft has grown exponentially and hired so many new talented developers. They're almost at like 300 developers now, so they can definitely have their own separate studio working on this game. And one final thing that I do want to say that really gives me hope that we will see something Monolith Soft related at the Switch 2 Direct, even though it's so close to Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition launching, is the fact that Nintendo loves to bring out the big guns super early in a console's life. Remember how Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U was shown very early on in the console's life cycle, and remember how Xenoblade Chronicles Bros. 2 was there at the January 2017 Nintendo Switch showcase, and so many people thought it was going to be delayed out of 2017, but no, it stuck to that December 2017 date despite all of the potential delays. And yeah, I definitely think Monolith Soft has been hard at work at something new when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I really do hope we see it here. It's not guaranteed that we'll see it here because of course Xenoblade X DE just released, but I do think if Nintendo wants to come out with the big guns, show some really technically masterful games along with Metroid Prime 4 and the new 3D Mario, a new Monolith Soft game is the perfect game to show, because I personally don't know if a new Zelda game is ready for Nintendo to show off just yet, and in replace of a Zelda game, to show something big, huge, open world, technically masterful, high fidelity, 4K, all that stuff, you got Monolith Soft right there. They've been cooking for so long, and I know they have something to show, and I hope that they have something to show. So yeah, what do you guys think? What JRPGs are we going to see at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd? And I really hope that you guys will be there with me to react to this live on the morning of April 2nd. I'm very excited to stream this with you guys. And I'm very excited for all the hype that we're going to experience and the entire rest of this year. Just experiencing these games, getting our hands on the console, playing all these amazing JRPGs and non-JRPGs as well. I'm very excited to experience the start of the console generation with all of you. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think, what your predictions are. And of course, don't forget to give this video a like and to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day and go play some great games today, like a Nintendo Switch JRPG, to get ready for more JRPGs to be announced at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video. And if you enjoyed it, check out these two videos on the left and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.